Leigh Farnell here, and I've just finished another training day in a boardroom here in Perth. And one of the things I want to share with you today, a great lesson that came out of today, was the power and the importance of the words you use in what we call the smart stories versus dumb stories. So much of influence and communication over thousands of years has been about telling stories. Once upon a time, the three little bears, the Englishman, the Irishman, the Buddhist monk. There's so many stories that have been used to get a message across, to give instruction, embedded commands, as they say in NLP. We've actually been doing a session on advanced sales stories, advanced communication skills. The difference between a smart story and a dumb story. Let me give you an example. I was talking to a financial planner the other day, and he was telling me some of the stories that he was telling people, and he was telling them stories about missing out, and if only he had have known, and gee, he felt so frustrated that he didn't learn these things until too late. And so many of the stories were about loss and not getting what he wanted. And I said, well, what messages do you think are being embedded in those stories? And of course, they were stories of loss. And I said, no, the stories need to be stories of gain, stories of winning, stories of transformation, stories of learning, stories of enlightenment, stories of making a decision and getting a completely different result. A smart story is a story with the right messages, that is, the messages of instruction in them, versus dumb stories where you're actually planting negative seeds in a person's head. Because in NLP they say there's both conscious communication and subconscious communication. 90% of the communication is subconscious. People aren't even aware of what the messages are, but in fact they're getting messages. So if you're telling stories, what's it got to do with you? Yeah, if you're telling stories, then make sure those stories have positive instruction in them, as distinct from a whole lot of negative instruction. As one of my colleagues, Pat Mercedes, said, never tell a story about something you still need therapy on, that is, that you're still processing. They need to be strategic stories. My father-in-law, Bill Fitzpatrick, was a great storyteller, telling stories of his sporting or his family or his selling or people that he'd met. And in those stories, there was inspiration. In those stories, there were messages of take action. In media advertising, one of the stories that need to be told are how repetition builds reputation, whether it be Harvey Norman or John Hughes or McDonald's or any of the regular advertisers are building reputation through repetition. And that's a powerful story, let alone the savings story or even the three little pigs building the house out of bricks. That's a story with an embedded command. And so what are the stories you're telling? Anyway, that's something I thought I'd just mention. And by the way, make sure you do go to our salesrevup.com.au site or the salesmanagementsecrets.com site and check out some of the new material there. And if you can make one of our next programs, our free one-dayers, then I recommend you do, because in fact, literally just today, one of the guys rang me up and said, Leigh, can we get together? Those ads really working. That training you did for us a couple of years ago, or that company, by the way, we sold for $62 million. Thanks for that. You're a key stakeholder in helping make that happen. And by the way, can we meet next week? Because we're now involved in another company and we'd like you to help us out with that company as well. So repetition builds reputation, and social proof is a powerful tool in sales. To tell you the truth, I don't need the work. I want to go and spend a holiday with my wife, but I will catch up with those guys sometime over the next couple of weeks, and we will see what we can do to help each other, because there's nothing more exciting than building something up, to get a transformation, to get a breakthrough, to help human beings optimise their potential. That's the business I'm in. I look forward to helping you if and when you're ready to take action. See you soon.